Cole, Dan, Brendan, and Lou here from Games, Brains, and a Head-Banging Life. gbhblofficial.com for sure. And it's the good, the bad, and the ugly of Bloodstock 2023. Yes, we have been to and back from Bloodstock 2023, and we want to talk about the festival overall. This video is not band related to a degree, e.g. we're not going to be reviewing the bands. That will be in a separate video. This is purely about the festival experience overall, the things we really enjoyed, the things that we thought, okay, that wasn't so great, and on the ugly side, just things that didn't fit in either. You just bit like, oh, that was a bit nasty, ugly, gross, whatever, whether it be something you saw or something you experienced, really. And yeah, this was an interesting one for me. I guess I'll just get the ball rolling. Is this might, it's been no secret, I think I've said a lot online already, but this might be my favorite Bloodstock I've ever attended. Not because of the bands. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were a wave of incredible bands, but this was just a good vibe for me. It was a good place to be. I really enjoyed the overall festival. Yeah.
I feel like the lineup could have been a bit stronger.
Yeah, lineup was
I think there wasn't enough to kind of
Hey, no bands. This is a no band video.
Yes, no, I know, but just that would be my overall thing. I didn't
bloody renegades.
There will be, unfortunately, there will be some mention of bands, but not like the.
Oh yeah. No, I'm only joking. You can say band stuff. It's fine. I haven't been to as many as you two, right? So, I haven't got as wide a kind of circle to compare to. For me, I think from a, I don't know, facility, from a kind of attitude and enthusiasm around the festival, it was probably, I'm trying. It was close to my favorite. The thing is, I think I'm still the first time I went, it's still quite fresh in my mind, and that was the first time you went, right? So that's kind of like, oh, buzz in, woohoo, But I was happy with quite a lot. Like any good Englishman, I have complaints, of course I do, but I was happy with quite a lot as well.
Before you jump in, Dan, what was this? Your fifth one, Brendan, or sixth?
I think this was my fifth one, but the first one was I only came for one day, didn't I? So it's my fourth full kind of camping one.
Done plenty then. Dan, your feelings overall?
I had a great time. It's probably just based off experience alone, my favorite as well.
That's fantastic to hear. It really is. And I'm going to jump straight in basically with a quick flurry of something that I specifically wanted to highlight in the good aspect. And basically, this was the Bloodstock where I think I've scored, and I think we've scored, or at least referenced, more bands who reached the 10 out of 10 were just phenomenal bands over the weekend. And I just want to throw out a quick run through of the ones that I thought were the most phenomenal over the weekend. The Enigma Division, Garia, Locust, Street Soldier, Amberus, Tortured Demon, Urn, Tribe of Ghosts, Waterlines, Drowned, Offness, Outer Gods, and Zeal and Order. There you go.
Yeah, you come quite a few.
Okay,
I mean, so that's not like all the 10 out of 10s, though, is it?
Hold on 1 second, Brendan. You got to speak up.
Wow, okay.
That was just whispering in my ear. The microphone's there.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so move in a little bit. Move the chair around a little bit. It's plenty of room. Look at all the gap here.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, you're going to have to speak up.
All right, okay.
Yeah, come back in, Brendan.
Okay, then. So, was that all the 10 out of 10s from the review, or is that just what you're rattling off the top of your head, like a selection?
I think these were all given, although the reviews I ended up not using the scores, the words alone, you would give all the scores, so I took some of what you'd given as well, and I compared it to what, for example, certain bands like Agaria, for example, you gave 10 out of 10, and I thought they were phenomenal as well. So it's like, well, there you go, that's that good example.
Yeah. I mean, it does. I know everyone says it. We say it. Loads of people that go to metal festivals all around the world say it, but it shows the importance of when you just look at a lineup poster and you kind of focus in on the big bands, you think oh god, that ain't so great. And actually, most of the bands I enjoyed the most there were bands I didn't know before seeing them there. So it does back up that whole go and check out other stuff, man.
Anybody got anything they want to throw out for the good then?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're obviously always quick to kind of, not just us, but everyone's quick to criticize when the organizers say do things that we don't agree with. I felt like this year there were a couple of things that I saw while walking around the festival that reminded me of complaints that I'd seen, and I'd also had last year that I felt had been addressed.
Oh,
And
cool.
I don't think they all like people aren't always quick with the positives, are they? It's not you know, I'm sure there'll be plenty more complaints about things people weren't happy with, but actually the things that they addressed and like should be credited for, you know. So,
Yeah.
for example, the camo netting shade had been changed.
Yep.
You know, I thought like it wasn't like it was very, very hot on some days, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't always that sunny that I needed to use it. But I just noticed that it had changed, and like there was a lot of complaints about that as a use for shade, and kind of with no fanfare or anything, it just was different this time around. And it's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Little thing,
There was
but
also
cool.
loads more. Like
Yeah, there
all
was
around the
more.
festival, there was loads of benches and
And
loads
there was
of
some in
shaded
like the
areas.
campsites as well, weren't there? Like some
Yeah.
sections of it. Or at least in VIP. I don't know about anywhere else, but there was a section of it. The other thing I often complain about, but I think were phenomenal this year, was the cleanliness of the toilets in VIP. You know, I genuinely thought that those ladies and blokes that were working around there, they seemed to like just always be there, like never stopping. And every time I went to the toilet, it was in a pretty reasonable state for a festival. I always had toilet roll, everything like that. So, you know, again, quick to complain about toilets, but I thought they did a smashing job, man.
I'm not gonna do this many times for obvious reasons, because I don't want to be running down another festival, but I'm gonna do a comparative here to Arc Tangent, which we attended shortly after Bloodstock, in regards to the VIP toilets over there, which were fine, just Portaloos, nothing special or anything like that. And that's fine. I don't care about whether it's like, you know, I know you wanted a sink and stuff like that. Biggest problem was they were fucking disgusting in the morning, and they had no toilet paper, which to me was simply unacceptable. And don't get me wrong, old festival heads, so we bring our own. Of course we do. We're not stupid. But a VIP toilet with no toilet paper in the morning, and one couple so bad that one of them had to be closed down.
Yeah, locked.
Yeah, like it was like, okay, Bloodstock. You know, it's one of those where you kind of
police tape over it and stuff.
Yeah, it was that. That's the guy going off to get tape. Yeah, it was like that. So yeah, by comparative, yeah, absolutely. I just want to jump in as well what you were saying. I didn't really notice the extra shade, if I'm honest, but I did notice the extra seats and benches that are around and stuff like that. And that, as you say, it's yards and criticisms. So you're right. People are quick enough to praise that. There you go. Yeah.
I think it was cleaner overall. I think the cup collection thing was.
Oh yeah.
Parents getting their kids to do it, and I still just thought less crap everywhere. I felt a bit cleaner. I don't know if everyone else thought the same, but
I got something to say about the ugly about that, but I think I'll agree with it to a degree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think generally, especially in like the main kind of festival area, like in front of the main stage, which can often turn into like a, you know, like you're wading through glasses and cups and all that.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty decent, yeah. And also, you know, actually on that side as well, like one of the things I've often complained about is like seeing kind of people like who leave like whole meals down, say in the New Blood stage and stuff like that, you know, just eat their food in there and then chuck the food on the floor and leave. Like I didn't really see any of that in there either. Like inside the tents, like I saw a lot of people in there sort of litter picking constantly and stuff like that. So it looked like a conscious effort to keep it cleaner. And it did feel cleaner.
And there were a ton of bins around as well. And they're still kind of doing that weird system where like it completely falls apart, where it's like I'll put one in this and one in that and so on. But I definitely felt there was a lot of bins.
Yeah, that system's like great. And like it, and I think people probably start it always with the best of intentions, like, you know, but then, you know, after like 10 hours of drinking, I think things change. But the problem as well with it, like I don't want to do like a negative, but when, you know, there's like a bank of say 6 bins, but like not like one area might have a food waste bin in it, but the next area doesn't, and you're like, oh, what do I do with my food waste here? Because I'm not anywhere near the one where the food waste bin was. It's not like the same 6 bins in each one, is it? Yeah.
Dan, you got anything you want to throw out for the good?
Oh, yeah, no, I felt it was really clean as well. Like I didn't really have, I can't really remember much. I mean, I was basically drunk for 4 days straight. So I don't remember much in terms of rubbish, but it's like I could sit on the floor comfortably. I found a couple good spots to plop. I didn't have any issues.
No, I agree. I want to jump in then to an aspect that is outside of the norm for most, but specific to us. And I want to talk about the press side of things. It was very much as per usual for us and so on. We had our own issues. that we were forced to adapt to, but that was nothing to do with the festival at all. I just want to make a mention of basically those that made the effort. It seemed like most did. Most of the bands made the effort. Most of the PR people made an effort to be on time, to be snappy, to be quick, to be on form in the interviews. You know, there were a couple that were a little harder than others, but for the most part, they were all really easy. I'm in the process of watching them and playing them back and editing them. So I'm getting those, and I always dread doing that because I always feel really awkward about them. But on that front, well, I don't want to single out any one in particular, like, oh, it's being better. I'm going to single out 3 that I just want to mention for they're so cool. First off, I want to mention Street Soldier, who were simply phenomenal to talk to. Generally, one of my favorite interviews the entire weekend. For the surprise factor, I want to mention Pat, the guitarist from Fit for an Autopsy. He was one of the kindest people I've ever met, and certainly at Bloodstock. And I couldn't. It was a stunning conversation that left me feeling buzzing. And for the unique factor, Dan, the U-High interview that occurred on Saturday when Brendan had gone to see a band, and they came over and asked to interview, and then they basically didn't speak any English and had an interpreter with them. And that was quite unique. And basically everybody that was kind to us there, because ultimately we are nobodies, we have a tiny little corner of the internet doing little that we can. So if you're kind to us, it is really, really encouraging. So thank you for that. You know, incredible. Almost all the PR people and labels and things like that, and the band themselves did an incredible job, worked really hard for us, and I want to just single out one, if I may, just purely that I think, like, as a recommendation for up-and-coming British bands, particularly if you need representation, DC Sound Attack are probably the most professional, well-organized, and nicest people to work with. If there was someone we had no issues with at any point over the weekend, timing or anything like that, it was DC Sound Attack. So I do urge you, if you're a young up-and-coming band, maybe looking for good representation, get your name out there a bit more, check them out. Your experiences of that side of things, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, just tagging on to that whole kind of talking to sort of bands out there, I would probably also say, I think if you are a young up-and-coming band and you're umming and ahhing about whether or not PR at an event like this is worth it, like, it really is. The difference in, like, the way they control it, the interviews that are set up, the structure behind it, making sure everyone's okay. Like, we see the difference in there when you're interviewing people and you're trying to, you see bands that are trying their best, walking around that can I get an interview, but everyone's got schedules, we got slots.
Yeah.
Like, the PR at a festival must be worth its weight in gold. So I don't know what them sort of costs are like, but to me, it's like, if you can pay it, you should pay it. Yeah. So, I mean, from a positive perspective, like, yeah, it was nice, it's friendly. I think, shout out again, I think we said this before, but again, to the guys that sit there and man that little entrance into the press kit, they're always friendly, always say hello when you go in and out, have a little chat, sit there through all weathers, and sometimes it feels like they sit there for like 14 hours. I'm sure they don't, and we just don't see them on break, but you're like, dude, have you been there all day?
Yeah.
You're like, you got sunburn on your face and you're drenched, like, from the rain showers, but you're still smiling and you're still saying hello every time we walk in. So that's kind of cool as well. But yeah, overall positive.
Dan, this is your first experience of press.
First year doing press, so I don't have as much to like go off of as the rest of you. But yeah, no, it was great. I can heavily agree with the Street Soldier interview. They were lovely to talk to. Also, Scorer, I think, were really lovely to talk to as well. And they played a really great set.
As the man behind the camera, not talking generally, like, I would say that my favorite interview, just as we're sort of doing that sort of thing, to watch from that side of it, which I really enjoyed, was the Garia one, which I thought was another great interview. There were a lot of very good interviews, don't get me wrong, but I thought that was really, really cool.
I also want to take this opportunity to praise Brendan. So we had some camera issues near the end run of interviews, and one which example was a short notice memory card failure or a battery running out right at the end of telling an interview, and Brendan in a split second switched to his phone to capture the last 2 minutes or so of the interview with Skies Turn Black. When I came to edit it a short while ago at the time recording, I was like, right, this is probably going to be about 30 seconds, get a picture, put it in between, put a message up saying we had a camera issue and all that. It was it's about 4.7 seconds long, that section. The speed, Brendan, that you did that with.
It's almost like I've done this before, isn't it?
I know, right? It's just incredible how far. I was like, bloody hell, the syncing up was perfect. And you even managed to hold that phone steady for the last 2 odd minutes as well.
Yeah. No, like, I mean, it helps these days as well, because obviously over the last couple of years, I've started like using the phone to take stills and stuff while we're doing it.
Yep.
So then I kind of just hold the phone in my hand in case it's ever of use, in case either something kind of happens that I can quickly snap a picture of. And in this instance, like, it just came in very handy that I kind of had it there, and I was like, oh shit. Ugh.
On that front as well, the ones that kind of what we had to do inside the tent, the Tribe of Ghosts one, where we had to stop short and go inside the tent because of the rain, and the one we had to do with Season Akira inside because it was raining outside. Again, they actually look fantastic.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's what we want out of it, isn't it? So,
all right, do you want to take away? So we sit there silent. We talk about press.
The Jaeger stage was bigger this year.
It was good call,
and it was really noticeable. You're like, oh, past going, oh, that's a good shout.
Yeah. I like the idea that that was purely because of Tortured Demon. I like that idea. I've seen a few other comments of people say that it might have also been connected to trying to give people some more shade and things like that as well. But I'm going to discount that and just put it down purely to Tortured Demon, like having that as their badge of honor that they forced Bloodstock to make the stage bigger for because of them.
Spread that word, people.
Right, sound that, yeah.
Stringent security in places. It's a weird thing to praise, but ultimately, I expect wristbands to be checked. I expect rules to be followed when it comes to certain things. Do you know what I mean? We are well aware that, particularly after a headliner, there's a certain amount of people that have a go at trying to get into the VIP area. You're part of that huge crowd and stuff like that. And it's simple as this. You don't pay for it. Bugger off. So it's awesome to see that the security was really, really tight on things like that. Entry to areas, showing wristbands, going into the campsites and stuff like that. There are areas where I will actually criticize that later, but most of all, particularly around the Serpent's Lair, I know, and the campsite, entry from Serpent's Lair, I thought was particularly solid. Yeah, I even watched, I don't know the end result of it, but I watched 2 people who were talking to the security outside the disabled camp, which is opposite us, asking, could they go in to find a friend? And it was looking like he was saying, no, you can't. That obviously, like that kind of thing. But I walked away, so I don't know if they were kind of giving a pass and stuff like that. But yeah.
Also, then on the security side of things, and again, I think we get this quite a lot, but the people that were kind of manning the entry to the VIP campsite, just from a general enthusiasm and pleasantness. There was one lady in particular.
That's it.
Always went out of her way to say morning. Oh, hi guys, how you doing? And it's nice, isn't it? It just gives me, like, you know, as you're walking back in or you're walking out, just a nice little thing that gives you, you know, an extra little bounce in your step as you head off to get a beer at 8 o'clock in the morning or whatever.
Yeah, big up that woman. I knew that's the one you were going to mention. The woman, she was, like I said, you said it earlier on, but I swear to God, she was there 24 hours. It felt like.
She would always be so lovely and say hello and stuff. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
I had her on my list as well.
Oh, there it is. There it is. The Shisha tent. Listen, man, this is one of our jams for Bloodstock. If it ever goes, we'll be quite gutted. It's become a ritual almost at a certain point. Normally on the Thursday or the Friday of the festival, we find our way there, be it during a headline if we're bored or after the headline, and just sit down and just chill out and smoke one of those pipes. I love that place. It is such a great vibe. It always, like, weirdly, it's open, but you go in there and it feels really quiet. It feels like you've stepped into like a sort of sound area, like it's all gone. I love that place. I love that.
It's a nice chill out vibe, isn't it? Like, especially if you've on, like, you know, it's Friday or Saturday and you've been on your feet for like a couple of days and just sit down, chill out for, we ain't in there for hours, are we? It's usually like an hour, half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. But it's enough.
We normally do like a one, the equivalent of one of the pipes, really.
Yeah.
Anybody got any more?
Very nice.
Got any more?
Bar staff. I found they were really good this year.
Yeah.
See the same faces all the time. You're like, oh, you were here last year, you're before, so you know the drill.
Gonna do it again. Yeah, I gotta agree with this. Again, it and weirdly, it's not it's a comparison, not a tangent, but it's a criticism weighted with positive. So Tangent's VIP bar was incredibly slow. Incredibly slow. And thankfully it wasn't very busy, but they were very, very slow. Part of the reason why they were so slow, though, was because they were fucking lovely. And they wanted to talk to everybody. So it was kind of like a catch. That kind of thing, and stuff like that. When it was the VIP and Bloodstock service, I haven't been spoiled by that. The efficiency. Like, I don't think I waited longer than a minute this year for a drink.
Yeah, I'm probably quite neutral. I don't think I waited long in the Serpent's Lair kind of area. I think there was a couple of times, but some of the other ones where it was a bit longer. But it depends when. It's that timing thing, isn't it? If you go like during a band, it's always quieter than it is if you wait for a band to end and then go to the bar. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
I found it very good. I didn't have to wait any time really. And for once, I actually found a beer that I really enjoyed drinking. They actually had a selection.
I have that as well. Green Mountain King? Green Mountain?
It was the Green King Green Mountain beer and also the Chiron. I got that one. And then me and you drank it for like the rest of the time there.
Yeah, because they ran out of the Green King Mountain one, whatever that was, and then we switched to that, and that was perfectly good. Yeah, you're right. I had some actually finding good drinks and wanting to stick with them over the weekend. That's a big at Bloodstock.
I didn't have to have a cider the entire time I was there.
Any more?
I put the yearly announcement of next year's bands.
Yes,
that always gets people buzzing. I love that discussion it brings up, and the way they do it, and the video package. It's like, ooh, who's next? And everyone's like,
yeah, it's kind of cool. There's a little bit of like hit and miss sometimes with like, because like you obviously I don't know if they announce when they're announcing it, do they?
I don't know if they did this year. I think they would mention that it would be after In Flames. Yeah.
Right, okay. I wasn't aware, so it was only because I was like there watching In Flames, and I was like, "Oh, cool, what's happening?"
Well, we forgot. We walked back to Sophie stage as In Flames were finishing, and we walked past the Jaeger, and then we heard the announcement being said, "Oh, stay tuned for whatever." So we turned and came back to watch it.
But yeah, I mean, other positives then, just on the beer side of things, I'll shout out to Citra, a nice beer that I found as well there that I quite enjoyed. Which was good, and also like you said, it's nice that these were found early. It's like I think within a couple of drinks, it's like I was drinking a Citra, and that was good for the weekend. I didn't have to try like 10 weird chocolate stouts or anything like that to try and find like the one I liked. Other positives, I think like just a generic kind of people one, because there were quite a lot of, especially within the VIP area, whether it was people we knew, either from people from bands, like you said, like, or just people around, or also like the couple of celebrities that, Lou and Gemma managed to collar. That again, that there was just this nice kind of buzz, and it was kind of nice just to see like a, positive, enthusiastic people all being quite friendly to each other. So yeah, go people.
I also saw quite a few kids crowd surfing. Like really young kids being crowd surfed, and that was quite like.
I felt like I saw more kids around this year than ever before. Maybe that was just me, but yeah,
maybe.
I mean,
I don't know.
I want to tie into what you said there, Brennan. Like with the overall sort of major positive for me, which is everyone I met, everyone I talked to, shared a smile with and a hello with. There was a point where I can't remember why, but I'd go back to the campsite at some point on Saturday. I think I was getting something from the tent. On the way back, I passed like 6 or 7 people, and each one smiled and said hello to me. And it was like really cool. It was just like a really bouncy kind of thing. And like you said, it felt really good. The vibe overall. I read online, I see the posts on Facebook and all that. And it's one of those where I get it. There are probably problem people around, and people have had issues and stuff stolen and all that. I can only ever talk from my perspective. But I didn't run into a single dick, basically. I didn't run into a single person that I thought was, oh God, I want to stay away from them or whatever and so on. And so I feel very lucky for that.
I think with the phones being like, if you get people getting their phones nicked, when you look at the posts on the forum, the ones that go, oh, thank you for returning my wallet, thank you for returning my stuff, that's the people that go Bloodstock. The phone thieves are the one that buy a ticket, bung a Metallica t-shirt on.
Of course, yeah, so exactly. You're gonna easily overpay the cost,
Any gig you go to, anything you go to,
no one's breaking in. They're just literally coming in with it. Yeah,
they're gonna buy a ticket, nick a couple of phones, and they've made their money. So just always think of that.
Any more?
I put less funfair rides. Still had 2, but less
It was also a little bit. It felt like it was a little further away, just a little further away. But nowhere as obnoxious as it's been.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't. I don't know if it was just because it was further away or if it was a little bit quieter. But I didn't notice, like, if I say standing outside the Sophie tent, I could hear the band in the Sophie tent. It wasn't, the funfair wasn't drowning it out, which was great. So yeah, that was good. Again, like, the all things that people complained about last year, so credit to Bloodstock. So well on them. They listened to these things, it appears, changed them slightly, but didn't even do that with a big fanfare about, look what we've done for you or anything like that, which I think is also kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of more sitting, because the only time I spent any time around a funfair was on Sunday when we sat down to eat. And I was eating a burrito from the Mexican place, which was lovely, bean burrito. And there was seating there as well. I don't remember if that was the previous. It was outside the bar.
Yeah, that was new. That was it was shaded seating.
Yeah, it was all right to sit there. I mean, don't get me wrong. I meant we had
by the gaming arena, you mean? Like
I didn't even.
Outside, where Bunny Chow is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like near there.
Like in that kind of corner section, yeah. But yeah, a lot of that thing was good. I mean, and actually, then on the positive, because Dan just mentioned it for me, I am gonna shout out. I have neutrals and negatives on this as well, but a couple of food places which I thought were really, really good. I didn't eat at a lot of different places there, but Bunny Chow, like, genuinely, that's there like every year. A lot of people say good things about it. It's well deserved. The food is delicious, well filling, and they were great again. And they're also lovely and friendly. And I ate there once. My missus ate there a lot, but the is it called Barnaby Sykes? I think it is, the pie place.
Oh, the pie place. It's Gemma's thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I did eat there once as well. And like, you talk about like positive people at the bar and that. It was that sort of experience when I went there. They were like, "Oh, hello, it's you again," with Gemma, like, and they didn't have any mash ready. And they were like to her, "Look, there's going to be a huge queue shortly. If you pay for it now, come back in half an hour. You come straight to the front of the queue. We'll have your food ready for you." Really, really nice. So a couple of really good food places there for me.
Yeah. I have a complaint about a food place, but for the most part, everything I ate from Bunny Chow was fantastic. The Mexican I had on Sunday with the burrito and the nachos, I really, really enjoyed. We ate once at the Texas Smoker, very late at night. I really enjoyed that. You complained about me putting barbecue sauce on the chips.
They were drowning.
Weirdly, I didn't do too much variety. They were missing the paella place this year. Probably a thing. Yeah, it wasn't there this year. It's weird because it was at Arc Tangent, so it clearly must have been a thing. I don't know what went on there, but but other than that, I like food was fine. Yeah. Anything else before we run to the bad?
I ate at Bunny Chow's like twice a day. Every day I was there, and other than having a fucked up stomach on Monday, I was pretty much fine. Like vegan chili.
Vegan chili, innit? It's still chili.
Yeah. I was fine for the entire time, but I got to Monday and I was like,
fuck. Any more?
No, that's it.
Right. Now we move on to the bad, and it is what it is. But there are a couple of things and some of it isn't really to do with the festival either. So I'm just going to quickly throw out this, yeah. So of course, interview commitments are interview commitments. When we book and plan interviews, we do not have set times, unfortunately. So we cannot go, we can't book anything around that, because we want to see that band. So it does result in some bands that you might particularly love being missed. So I just want to be saying a bad for me was missing This Summit Fever, Employed to Serve, Knock Loose, Dekesis, Tusker, and Skies Turn Black. The major ones that I wanted to see, I missed because either was packing up gear, putting it back, and interviewing at the time. I would throw as well, I suppose, didn't put it here, but I'll throw Decapitated into that as well, because I had to miss them too. But yeah, a couple of them hurt me deeply. Yeah.
Yep. A couple of bands, that you miss every time. I think, like, obviously because we set ourselves up slightly differently this year, aside from you, but it meant like myself and Dan could at least interchange a little bit. And the only problem we got is how we replace the talker, and
that's the one thing we need to be able to do is find someone to occasionally tag me out and do take the hot tag, but actually on that front as well, I want to also add having to leave Tribe of Ghosts early to do interviews. Never complaining about the interview side of things, love it and so on, but I had to leave Tribe of Ghosts early so that we could do an interview. That sucked.
I missed the band because of logistics, so obviously DNR was packed tent.
Yep.
There was no seeing a bit of Zeal and a bit of this band Iron Altar.
Oh yeah, I know, on the Jaeger stage.
Because they was on the Jaeger stage at the exact same time. So I thought there's no way I'm gonna get
like in and out, see a bit of both. Yeah.
So I think practically, and not losing you guys into the festival. Yeah, so I'm hoping to try and check them out further down the line because they are ones to look out for.
I'm really lucky I found you guys at the end of Zealanado because I had no idea where you were in there because
We
I was
think-
still at BHP.
Yeah, we knew that. We figured one or two things would happen. You'd either wait in the VIP Serpent's Lair area or you'd walk back towards the car. We figured, well, it wouldn't be that hard to find you. It ain't it ain't download size.
It was me. I couldn't fucking find any of you. I was blind as shit.
Of course, we'll get onto that. Actually, no, let's do that right now. I'm going to bring it here. So, Dan coming to tell me that he had lost his glasses in Knocked Loose Pit was a bad moment. Would you like to elaborate on this, Dan? Because obviously it's a bad moment for you too.
Yeah, no, that fucking sucked. Knocked Loose was great. It sounded great, but slight dampener on the whole thing, considering I lost my fucking sight midway through Saturday. So I had the whole rest of Saturday and then the whole of Sunday where I couldn't see shit. That and it pissed it down halfway through. So I was like, I left Knocked Loose like in a lot of pain, wet and stumbling around.
Yes, indeed. All done now, though. You have a replacement pair on your face, so cost me as well. But there you go. It is what it is. Like I said, it was unfortunate. You got hit in the head, right?
Yes, I got punched in the face and they just flew off, and I was like, oh, I looked for like a good 10 minutes. They vanished. I swear, I got hit and they just were gone.
But you did go checking lost property as well, didn't you?
Yeah, they were not to be found. There was lots of glasses in there, most of them sunglasses though.
One of the worst situations, I suppose, in life, isn't it? Is a person with glasses dropping their glasses and then having to try and find them themselves. The whole point is that you can't see without the glasses.
I even had a couple of mates in the Knocked Loose Pit look for me, and they couldn't find them either. Like we were all like looking.
It's a story.
Yeah.
All right, who's got one?
You do.
Can we not just quickly say, sorry, beforehand, that it's really unfortunate that Dan's glasses got knocked loose?
Well done. Well done.
Good.
Carry on.
Not using screens or boards to let people know of lineup changes.
This was I think this was a criticism that first came up last year, has been louder this year, and we can now join the chorus of this because Arctangent actually did something, actually put boards out, several around the site with chalk written lineup changes. So Bloodstock, come on, man. Like, you've got these massive screens and they are amazing at using the full thing. But like, stick that up. And it was Sacred Reich and Hate, was it?
I think so.
Casket feeder.
Right.
Sacred Reich and Casket Feeder swapped around, didn't they?
No, they were different stages.
Yeah.
No, Casket Feeder were in the Sophie and Sacred Reich were in the main. It was Sacred Reich.
Oh, sorry, Sacred Reich and Gate Creeper. That's the one.
Gate Creeper. There it was. Yeah. So like, I only heard about this after because we were interviewing during both, so they weren't. It wasn't an option. We still got to do the Gate Creeper interview though. Fair enough. All right. Like nobody knew apparently.
Yeah, I was standing there. I was at the main stage because I've been watching Hate, and everyone who was there only realized when they were waiting for Sacred Reich and the Gate Creeper backdrop got raised up, and then you could see people around all going, "Huh? What's going on here?"
So you can't rely on the app at a festival, so you have to kind of put it out there a bit more.
Yeah. Just utilize those screens, absolutely. There are a couple of others, but I want to quickly touch upon interviews. Now, I'm not going to name names or anything like that. I'm really not. And for like I said, in the good, for the most part, everyone was good. However, we are giving time over. We are making the effort. We're missing bands to do this, and we understand things change and problems happen and so on, that kind of thing. We completely understand. We had a couple with a last minute cancellation, for example. But you know what happened there? PR told me. Came and told me. One PR company, 2 out of 3 interviews. No show, didn't get told anything. Wasted ad time. Sure, they were busy. I'm sure things come up. I totally understand that and all that. But man, oh man, you make me feel stupid. You make me feel small. And it's just insulting. And the only reason the third one happened was because the band came and found us. And it's like, man, oh man. And it's basically, I will be very wary of booking anything with you in the future, purely because I'm like, well, you wait like 2 out of 3. I mean, and considering how good everyone was. So I do find it frustrating. We are human beings. In those cases, we've been on our feet and interviewing for hours. And in one of the cases, it was right at the end as well. Could have got away a bit, stopped a bit earlier and stuff like that. It just feels a little bit like insulting and stuff like that, you know? Yeah, that's it.
Yep, agreed.
I've got a non-press one.
Go on.
It's just, it sounds silly, but like there's certain food places that you go to, like that you used to go to, that's still missing. Things like Mr. T's and Delicates. They were like popular for a good reason.
Well, Delicate's not been there in years, so I feel like we've got
No.
to move on from that one. But I definitely hear the call for not necessarily Mr. T's, but something on that level.
Yeah, just
You know what I mean?
comfy.
Like in the main arena kind of thing.
I missed it.
Yeah.
I think just because of the VIP, that's in my, well, that's to come my ugly, but the VIP food store and the shocking. Ugh.
It's not my ugly, it's in the bad.
Oh,
It's in the bad. It was bad. It was bad. That van, the one in the VIP campsite, was horrendous. You know, you got me one thing from there. It was a massive floury bap with 1.5 sausages in it. And it's like, fuck, it was horrible. Horrible. Yeah. I don't know if they get away with it because of where they are and they've got no challenges around them. But yeah, I thought they were fucking terrible. And they didn't call out for it.
When we went to the regular people camp, horrible way of putting it.
Yeah.
They had so many fucking food stalls. They had like 8 and a shop. Why the fuck do they have like 8 and a shop? Why don't we have a shop?
Because they can't come into VIP, but you can go into the campsites and use them. That's it. I have no issue with that. In fact, there's not enough room at VIP. And there was that food place in the Serpent's Lair that people said was good, but I never got to eat there at any point over the weekend.
I was going to say as well, the Texas Smoker, I think it was a bit shit this year. I got it once, and like, because we've been going there for years, right? We always get that at some point. I got it once, and I was like, damn, that was disappointing. Especially because I'd been eating body chow for like a day and a half at this point. So I was like, oh, I'll change it up a little bit.
What did you have?
Just the burger, like with the onions, the barbecue sauce, and the cheese.
The only thing we had was we had a hot dog. We didn't have the burger over the weekend. Yeah, so maybe that was it. Maybe, I don't know.
It was fine, but like you're paying the same price as you would at like somewhere else. I wasn't particularly full at all afterwards, and I didn't enjoy it. Loads.
You just become obsessed with bunny chow. That's
it's super good. I followed them on Instagram and everything afterwards. I was like, I want to see where you are.
There was 2 of them at Arctangent. Didn't eat once there. No, there was there was a reason why, but that's a totally different thing. Brendan, you got some?
Well, I just I think the food thing, right, is like, it's obviously quite personal, really, to an individual. Yeah. So like people like different things. People buy into the different qualities of food differently. Like some people see something as really good that another person sees as shit.
Yeah.
Right. I especially over like recent months, but I feel like I have a slightly different relationship maybe with food. So I agree that the quality of the food and the VIP thing wasn't great, but I thought it was fine. You're right. Everything you said is true. It was dry. It wasn't particularly that good value for money. The coffee was weak. You know, I was getting a coffee with an extra shot, and it was like, that was weak. And I was like, God, imagine this without the shot. Jesus. But I guess I don't pay that much like into it. So I don't care. I was like, it's 7 a.m. I just want a coffee and a bite to eat, and I'm completely fine with it. You know, you're right, the bread was too much, and you could a little bit of butter or something would have maybe like loosened it up a bit. But after I had the first one, it was really dry. I just made sure everyone I got after that, I just loaded it up with ketchup. So, you know, I guess for me, I'm kind of fine with it because I'm not that interested in it from a quality perspective. It was just something to eat and a coffee in the morning. In terms of the food in the arena, I don't think I really branch out an awful lot in there, because I think once I've got some stuff that I'm quite happy to eat, then I just stick with that and it's all good. I ate once from the Texas Smoker as well. I queued up for a very, very long time and I got some like loaded chips in there. I can't remember which ones they were. I thought the food was very, very nice, but it wasn't worth the extensive queue because there was a hell of a queue for it. You know, I'm trying to think. I don't even think I ate anywhere else other than that. I ate the pie place once, Bunny Chow's a few times, and then once at the Texas Smoker, and all the food was fine for what it is. But like, I'm not saying you guys were, but I'm not like there like trying to judge sort of like Michelin standards or anything like that. For me, it's just I just need some sustenance. That's it. Don't care what it is really. I could quite happily eat something that's pretty shit and be like, oh, okay, well that'll do me for a little while.
I do understand completely what you're saying. This is where you kind of like like saying that it's bad. It's like by comparative to what? And that's the truth of it. It's like it's not that big of a deal. It isn't really going. All it's going to mean is if next year.
I mean, the biggest part with the food, right, is like whether you feel you're getting value for money, because obviously it's expensive price. That's the thing. It's not like if you get that massive bat with 1.5 pink sausages in it and you pay £3 for that, you probably don't complain as much as you do if you pay £8 for it, you know.
True.
Yeah, like the pie, you pay £14 for pie and mash and gravy.
Pie and mash gravy, and it's filling, like
that's. So I'm like, that's festival fine. So
I want to. It's not bad. It's actually kind of throwing back the good. But on this conversation, this reminded me of something. I gave Dan so that you could buy food and drink all on your own without any issues with me my credit card to just be like, so we had a separate card. When I came to Monday and I was all right, let me have a look at the damage. Let me look at the damage. Props to that. Props to you, man. It was nowhere. I thought it was gonna be like insane, but it was like, oh no, okay, you only spent like £100 over the weekend, and most of it was a bunny chouse. It was like, oh, it's fine.
I had no idea. I knew I wasn't. I was like, I'm not gonna take the piss. I'm just gonna get like I didn't eat much, to truth be told, the whole time. I wasn't really focused on that. I think I at one point I was like, fuck, I need to eat. It's like 3 p.m. and I'm fucked. Like, you know.
Okay, right. Let's move on from food. Let's talk about something that I do think we can probably, maybe we've all got a feeling here. Now, I don't really care about this overall because it's not a major selling point of the VIP experience for me. However, it is something they say is part of the VIP experience, so they need to improve it. The VIP merch bag has got significantly worse as the years have gone on. And the t-shirt is terrible. The bag itself is just something you chuck away. The merch thing, fine if you want to use it and stuff like that, but it doesn't even feel like this. It feels completely not worth it. Now, here's the thing. I know people have gone, or at least a certain lot of people are quite angry about the big price increases for VIP next year. It's like £6 a ticket and all that kind of thing. Bloodstock has no reason to at all change things because those sold out within 15 minutes. So clearly it doesn't matter. Clearly whatever like that. But this VIP merch bag, don't give it to me. Don't make it a thing if you're not going to put even the slightest bit of effort into it. If you're not, I'd rather not even have it because it feels less insulting. And I'm going to do the comparative again. Arctangent did exactly the same thing. And oh my goodness me, the bag is fucking quality. Printed bag with logo and all that on it. The t-shirt is quality. And instead of like a merch thing, it was a free glass of bubbly at a VIP bar. Now, I don't drink that stuff, so I don't like it. But we still got it. And then a wasp flew into my drink almost immediately, so I couldn't drink it anyway. But it was like night and day. Like,
I feel like maybe ask people, do like a survey in VIP. Would you prefer more of a discount or better quality t-shirt? Like
one free drink at the VIP bar instead of just one.
I think that's too expensive.
Do you think that's one free drink? Limit what a drink is then. So one free drink from the tap. So you can't just go there and can I have those expensive whatever and so on. One free lager.
If I want a vodka Red Bull.
One free soft drink, one free lager. There you go. That's your choices.
The t-shirt's always shit. I've always used it as a hair-dyeing shirt.
Did you take yours? I left yours here.
Yeah, I figured it was. I was like, I'm the only dickhead who got a 2XL, so I presume this is mine.
Oh, was it 2XL? It did look a bit big. I hung it over the bike. It's like, that's huge. Yeah. Okay. Brendan's thoughts on this?
I mean, it doesn't really matter to me to a degree because I never wear the Bloodstock t-shirts because I'm more likely to wear band t-shirts. I've still got like all of one from the past, like sort of just stacked up in one pile of unworn t-shirts. I thought the design on the t-shirt itself was all right. I just didn't think much of the t-shirt. You know, the t-shirt material is quite cheap. There's no back print, nothing like that. So there's a few things that were scrimped on. I think the thing for me is and I've been just talking about this actually with people. I was talking about this with Nick the other night and with Gemma as well, right? I could understand all of this stuff in the last couple of years because the price of the ticket hadn't changed while the world was getting more expensive. So cost cutting is a necessity.
Right. And
if I was cost cutting and running that festival, trying to find a cheaper way to get things like the t-shirts done, maybe dropping a couple of things, I could understand that.
Yeah.
I won't be able to understand that next year because now the prices have gone up. Probably not enough to cover all costs, but they've gone up to cover the cost of the fact that some things have got more expensive. Therefore, the cost-cutting exercise shouldn't be quite as necessary. So I think there are some serious failings with the VIP bag. I would say on a positive that the ladies that are working behind there, all the merch people that work behind there work really, really hard and do it with a smile again, since it's not about them. But it's difficult to get them.
Yeah.
You queue for a long, long time. The argument against that is, yeah, but you can go at any point. Like you could go on a Sunday evening and probably walk straight up there and get yours, which is great, except for the fact that one of the major selling points of the VIP bag is the fact that it's got 10% voucher in there off official Bloodstock merch, which is usually sold out by 9 o'clock Friday fucking morning.
Yeah.
So if you haven't queued up by then, what you've basically got is a useless piece of paper to also chuck in the bin. Right. So that, so there are things like that clash with it. You're going to give me a voucher for merch, which means I have to go and queue early, which means I have to stand in a mental queue missing loads and loads of bands. And then by the time I get to the merch stuff, most of your merch is fucking sold out anyway. I think there is a bigger discussion to have on what the value for money of VIP overall, because I actually also obviously bought tickets. Of course we did. But I guess when I started looking at the value for money on this, what do I get for this? Now, I started looking at things like, okay, the VIP bar is great. The ratio of bars that I bought drinks at in that festival is not weighted towards the VIP bar, because other than when we're doing press, other than when maybe we're passing through or in the evening on the way back, most of the drinks I bought were in the Sophie tent actually for considerably,
Right.
and a few at Lemmy's bar. So, that side of things, you start weighing up all of it and saying okay, I think I settled on, aside from the car park, I was, because it's not like VIP's that particularly a quiet camp. There are other quiet camps, aside from the location, I was like, oh, so you're paying almost double, and what am I getting for that? How many hours of that festival do you actually spend in Serpent's Lair, other than walking through it to get to the bands? Because how many bands do you watch in the Serpent's Lair?
No, I don't think in all the years.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I think you're right. The VIP bag is a huge disappointment. Huge disappointment. But I think there is, in my head, there's starting to be the small kind of irritated grumble at the back of my mind of saying, for the whole VIP experience, is it value for money?
I understand. I have these thoughts too. Social media normally corrects them thanks to the stories I hear about some of the other campsites. I'm like, oh my God, because however noisy VIP can be occasionally here and there, we don't experience any of that. For me, the biggest selling point will continue to always be closeness to the car, closeness to the main arena, and a chance to really get away from the noise of it if you need to at certain points. I massively disagree, and hopefully they never do this, but I saw a suggestion that they should increase the size of VIP. Listen, people, if everybody's fucking in VIP, it ain't VIP anymore. Stop doing that. Stop trying to make it bigger, because the bigger it is, the less fucking, you know what I mean? Just leave it as it is. It should be what it is. You be quick, you pay a large amount of money to do this side of things, But yeah, I completely get what you're saying. But then, again, I'm using a comparison. We did Arc Tangent VIP, and while it was lacking in many, many areas, it was so close that I could have stood by the car and waved, and you'd have been able to see me in a picture. But we were also so fucking close to one of the main stages that any sound checks was blasting. I got woken up at 8:15 Friday morning by what I thought was a band playing.
The fucking afternoon, isn't it?
Fucking, I thought it was disgraceful. But there we go. Right, let's talk about another one I think we all might have thoughts on, which is some of the sound in the Sophie stage.
Terrible.
It is, of all of them, the one that had the most problems for me. I didn't really notice too much in New Blood. Main stage seemed okay for the most part. Jaeger was good. But the Sophie stage, there were several bands over the weekend that I thought, fucking hell, it just was either muddy or bass or drum heavy, drowning out vocals at certain times. I read the reviews, what people have written. I know, Brendan, you had similar feelings about certain bands too that suffered.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there were a lot of bands in there that actually sounded muddy. There were some bands we spoke to that had mic issues, so actually, dropped using a mic, for example.
Mm-hmm.
The worst one for me of the whole festival, and it was in the Sophie tent as well, was Trollfest, where we could not actually hear any vocals, any accordion, anything. All you could hear was the drums. And it weren't just me. People were still drunk and having fun. Of course they are. And maybe if you were standing front and center, maybe it sounded different. But roughly in the position where we normally stand, which is to the right of it, I couldn't hear a word. They had like 4 people, including the lead singer, all with mics, all singing at different times. And I couldn't hear a word. All I could hear were the drums. And I was just like, I don't know what songs they're playing. I know nothing. Like, I don't know what's going on. It was just terrible. But I don't know what it is like that's wrong there, because I can't. These guys are all professional sound engineers and that, right? They're not idiots. So whether it's in the center, it's like projecting quite nicely. So they're not picking up on the problems like down in the sound area. And it's just like not working out to the sides. But I thought overall the Sophie tent sound was quite disappointing.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. Because you can hear like, I think obviously the Jaeger one's tiny, the New Blood's small as well, but they sounded a lot better. So,
I mean, it's usually an outdoor big main stage where you expect like maybe some sound problems, some heavy rain, there's a little bit of wind every now and then.
Yeah.
But I actually thought the main stage sounded absolutely banging as well. So it was exclusive to the Sophie tent for me, like in terms of sound problems.
Yeah, because I remember last year, I think it was when Behemoth played, when they first kicked in, their mics completely off.
Yeah.
That's when they come out and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, that's your starting song. I got really excited and they had songs, so.
Okay.
I have a bad, which was I tried to buy one bit of merch the entire time we were there, and I don't know how long it was there, but it was like 2 p.m. in the day. It's completely sold out every side.
What were you trying to buy?
Not Blue's t-shirt. This is so lovely. I'm super annoyed that I didn't get it. Happens sometimes, but
yeah, it's also like a positive in a way, though.
Yeah.
I guess if it's sold out, it means like loads of people have rushed over there and picked it up. So I know it's not for you, but a positive. But I bought. I didn't buy a huge amount of merch. I bought a couple. I've got an Offness t-shirt on now. I bought a couple of others. I can't even remember now. Ambrius and a couple of others. And I was always quite lucky with that timing of getting up there and being able to get quite close to the front. And I got everything I wanted, which was great. The only problem I have every year, myself and Gemma buy Rose a Bloodstock t-shirt, and every year we hit the same problem. We went up there quite early on the Friday. They have all these wonderful designs across the board, and we're like, have you got that one? Have you got that one? They're like, every single one of those are sold out except for the standard Bloodstock with the BOA in the middle. Everyone. And it's like, what, already? And it's like, I know the board's quite high, but like, could we not like put a sold out sign up there or something like that, or take it down?
Yeah.
Start anticipating it and start printing more.
Yeah, I mean, if it sells out every year, there's a pattern then, right? You can kind of guarantee that you're probably okay. And also because they sell leftover merch on their website then throughout the year, there's probably not much of a risk of overprinting.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Any more?
Let people, if you're desperate enough, let people do pre-orders on site. Like, you give them your address, your email, and you allow them to order something.
That sounds complicated.
Does it really, though?
That was some correct cues. Think about it. Going up there with a pre-order, email, or whatever. I mean, I'm sure they could. I still argue. We've talked about this before. I'm going to bring it up again because it's something I do think Bloodstock could really do differently. Once again, basically use one of the shops to let bands sell their merch. If the main one is official only, all of that is official merch only. Let the bands have a completely different store where they rotate on desks and stuff like that. Again, I don't mean to do it, but my God, how good was Arctangent's merch tent? It was a tent with wall to walls of bands, merch, everything.
Didn't Slam Dunk do something?
Slam Dunk also.
They do the same thing.
Fantastic merch.
It's time for Bloodstock to start learning how to do
a walkthrough kind of market. You know, the official merch is held separate. So if you want your Slam Dunk merch, you go to a separate part, and the bands are in there. All they do is like they give them the area. That's all they do, because the bands staff it themselves. Like, I mean, they maintain all their stocks themselves. So it's just about saying, "Here's your place."
Yep.
And it doesn't sound like a complicated thing to do. I know that there isn't like, where would you put it like now? Like, have you got, if you're looking at the way that the festival's laid out right now, where would you put it? I know you said like in replace of one of the shops, but that means you're taking money out of the festival to do it. So you kind of need a location that's not taking away somebody who's paid for a pitch, or you've got to see the tickets go up or something again to cover the extra cost, isn't you?
But that, I think, I like, if that was sort of a, like, you know, when ticket prices increase for anything, I always feel like you'll always get away with things a lot more if you explain why. If they turn around and say, listen, we're going to put £10 on extra on every ticket that's sold, and this is why, because we want to do this next year, and we don't want the bands fronting the costs. We don't want to charge them a merch fee for doing it. So you will have to bear the brunt. I'm going, of course. That's it. Do you know what I mean? Of course, absolutely. I think it'd be. But I also know I'm probably in a minority there. Like majority would be like, no, whatever, and stuff like that. So it is what it is. It is what it is. It's been the same as for years. I don't see it being changed anytime soon. How it is. You just got to try your luck, and hopefully you'll, maybe if you're lucky, you'll get some merch. Yeah. Okay. Briefly, losing 2 memory cards on Sunday. I pulled my boot apart, pulled up the bottom of it, checked everywhere, weren't there, emptied the bag completely. Nope, those 2 disappeared. Thank God they were empty and not ones that had interviews on them. But yeah, that happening sucked because it really caused some panic as well. And I have one more. So if anybody's got any others, you can do yours.
All right. Hang on. Give me some thinking time. Okay, it wasn't as bad, but I still felt it was bad. Sunday to me felt like very, very crammed, and the chairs were annoying. I'm not going to go as mad as I did last year on it, where I was like, this is fucking ridiculous. I still felt it was bad though.
Yeah.
I also feel like those chairs are becoming infectious and starting to infect other areas like the Sophie tent as well. So yeah, there's always been some that kind of plot around the back of it, but it seems to be a growing number. I know it's difficult to control. I know that some people need them. I know it's almost impossible to judge who should be allowed a chair and who shouldn't.
Yeah.
So it's a grumble that I know no one can do anything about, but it's still a grumble. So
I have a similar grumble, but it's in the ugly. Dan, have you got any more? No?
No.
Okay, right. Hear me out, people. And I don't mean you people. I mean people who'll be watching this and gonna immediately react to what I'm about to say. Meshuggah as a headliner. Right. I get it. They're super fucking tight and really good at what they do, and it sounds great. But that was not a headline show. That was a show. And that's what's annoyed me the most about Meshuggah as a headliner. Where was the pomp, the we're here and we're headlining a festival and we're going to bring it? No, you sound tight, you sound great and all that kind of thing. But the way that, does everybody remember how that just ended? And it was like, wait, what? Oh, it's done. Like for all my criticisms of Killswitch, at least that felt like a fucking headliner. A band going, right, we are taking this moment, we're going to bring this, and we're going to bring that, and we're going to do this. Whereas Meshuggah's thing's going to be, we're going to do Meshuggah things. I get it. They've earned that right and stuff like that. But that's not good enough, man. So for me, a bad as simply that is, and everybody telling me that like I should love them or love that headline thing because they were so tight. And it's like, stop saying the word tight. Please stop saying the word tight. I know that's great. I know that's good and all that. But my God, it didn't feel like a headline band to me at all.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. And start going, I guess, too much in the bands. But like the other thing, I guess, connected to that, but not exclusive to Meshuggah, is like, where's all the goddamn pyro, man?
There's a real lack of it this year.
Killswitch, like, you know, like you said, they put on a performance, whether you loved it or hated it or didn't care. You know, at least they did. I know there was that little speech he made about trying to play as many songs as he could with the word fire in it. You know, so. But I was like, yeah, like I don't know. It's sort of like a Bloodstock staple to a degree, isn't it? Fire coming out the top of the main stage, and you know, yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Don't want to get too much in the band, so let's move on to the ugly. And a lot of these are silly for me, so I'm going to fly off a couple of mine straight away. So me on Thursday, that is it. Ugly. I don't remember a fucking thing at all. Disgraceful behavior on my part. Me, sunburn on the back of my neck. For some reason, my neck took a hammering. And I've seen me back in some videos, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. Being so frazzled during a set of interviews, and I think it was Saturday, where I would quickly, we were like 10 deep, and I'd stopped and I was going to the toilet while we were waiting, and I ran into Daybreaker, the band Daybreaker, who basically, how you doing, that kind of thing, and I got to talk to them and stuff like that, and basically I forgot what day they played. I was like, oh yeah, I'll see you play tomorrow. No, like, oh no, we played yesterday. And I was just like, I'm so sorry. And he was lovely about it and all that kind of thing. But like, I apologize, man. He said to me, oh, I get it. You know, you're talking to so many people and so many things going on. And it is that. It's that. Try to keep up the best as possible. Oof. But I always feel really embarrassed when I do that kind of thing, because I pride myself on kind of getting shit like that right. So to do that sucked. The brief but heavy showers we had on Saturday, they were brief, and overall the weather was good for Bloodstock. It really was. So I'm not going to complain too much about that. But man, when that hit, it hit. And like I said, it hit during Tribe of Ghosts. The cheesy chips that the vegan place by the Sophie stage sold. Did you see that little vegan place that was set up near the toilets in there? So I was like, oh, I'll have some vegan chips, vegan cheese and chips, that kind of thing. They were fucking horrible. They were horrible. Eat proper cheese, people.
No, man, sorry, I got to jump in there. I fucking love that cheese.
You did say
I don't know
that.
about you.
It was
I did.
tasteless. Is he frozen up?
I have cheese. No, I can still see you.
No, he
I'm
froze
not-
up briefly.
Oh, sorry. I'm not like a cheese snob, but I thought it was really good.
Okay, each to our own. I don't know this for sure, but there were some rumors that some places were upping their prices as the weekend went on. If that is true, fuck you, and you know, hope everyone stop coming to you. You said earlier on in the good about Tidy, Brennan. We made a jokey laugh about the fact that no matter what festival we go to, wherever it is in the entire world, at some point we will see noodles on the floor. We saw it 3 times. There were bins everywhere, people. Don't be knobs. Don't be knobs.
I'm judging it more, I guess, on levels.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like it was improved.
Ugly. That's why it's in the ugly, not the bad, because it wasn't that big of a deal. Reception. Barely had any all weekend. God damn, I really wish that would be better. However, again, by comparative, Arctangent, I had none. I got it once or twice when I was in a fucking Portaloo. And I was like, oh, my phone's getting notifications. Beyond that, I had nothing. Not an inch of 3G, nothing at all. So at least Bloodstock's a little bit better than that. No, I said loads. Does somebody else want to go?
The whole faff about Megadeth doing the meet and greet.
Oh.
I think it was kind of tainted by the whole thing that went down before Bloodstock.
Yeah.
Where it's happening.
It was ugly, yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of tainted it.
It's unnecessary. You have a choice. You do what you don't.
Yeah.
And I didn't like. I know it sounds probably pompous and stupid, but I didn't like the fact that they closed the new Blood stage to allow Megadeth to use that. That's like quite an important tent to us, like at least. I'm sure to a lot of people there. And the idea that, you know, a big band can come along and essentially evict the young bands from it to take over it for a while.
For money as well.
Yeah, for money. Yeah, agreed.
I think the fact as well that it seemed like a lot of comments that it wasn't great. Like Dave seemed a bit. He's not the most.
I wouldn't exactly call him the most. What's the word you would look? Charismatic of individuals.
Does anyone have any idea of like whether it was packed, or has anyone heard anything about numbers?
About it.
I just heard about signing stuff. Apparently they're getting funny about what they signed because they didn't want people signing.
Yeah, but that was explained. That was explained by the signing temp people and stuff like that. It was simply about us getting as many people in there. And I get it. You know, these bands have like 30, 40 minutes. You know, more people want to get in this get shit signed by Megadeth. So you can't be standing there having a chat and asking them to sign 3 things: your t-shirt, your symbols. You know, I don't see that as an issue. I think the more people who get stuff signed is better than people having a moment with Dave Mustaine. You know.
But yeah, just overall, I think just lesson learned. Don't bother with that.
Well, they tried it last year with Cradle, didn't they? And then they cancelled it. And I'm going to presume it was because of low tickets.
I thought it was COVID. I thought that was a COVID year when they didn't have any signing.
Last year? No, not last year. No, what? The signing tent full stop. No, I think you're talking about the paid for extra thing. Oh. And the paid for extra thing they did the Cradle one.
No, there was like an offer of like a kind of VIP meet and greet with Cradle, wasn't there?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Wrong year.
But yeah. I mean, a lot of mine are actually quite similar to the ones that you rattled off. So I got sunburnt to fuck on Thursday, man, and like actually, it's probably only in the last day or so that my arms have stopped shedding skin like some sort of weird fucking alien creature. Honestly, mental. Like, this can't keep coming. If I was sitting at work and I went like that with my arm, like skin just like fell out onto the floor like it was snowing. I was like, what is going on? So I didn't realize how burnt I was. But that Thursday sun was hot. But that's like on me completely, man. Like not sun creaming properly and all that sort of stuff. I had more, but I've forgotten them all. Other stuff. You losing your cigar.
Oh, I found it.
Yeah.
I found it and then took it up tangent to smoke it there and then forgot about it again. So it's currently
the
sitting.
phone signal thing as well. Oh, you got it. Yeah.
It
It wasn't even that lost, man. I remember going back to the tent when you were there. You just picked it up off the table, wasn't it? It wasn't like that.
We have a plan. Most of us are going to a Coalition Fest on the Saturday. So there you go. That'll be a good day.
Yeah. The phone signal thing frustrates the hell out of me. More so that they obviously do their best to provide some form of Wi-Fi. Most of the time I had to disconnect from the Wi-Fi because it was worse than the shit signal I had. Now I understand that, a lot of people will say, oh yeah, but just put your phone away, man. Like, enjoy the festival. I got a young kid. I'd like to be able to say, are you okay? Every now and then. So that's the reason why I want my phone.
We run a website and a social media channel. It'd be really cool to be upload videos and pictures as quick as possible at the festival. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's probably also partly on us, like, of not yet working up the courage to say, where's my media Wi-Fi?
I actually was really annoyed with myself that I forgot to do that again this year. I meant to actually do that. But to be fair, I took fuck all pictures this year. I really did took fuck all pictures.
Yeah.
The group camped near us in VIP who never seemed to sleep. It's not, like I said, it's really ugly because each to our own. But I swear to God, I was going to sleep and they were talking and waking up and they were still talking. Insane. What the fuck? Yeah.
As an early riser, I can promise you they did sleep. They were never there when I got up, and then they got up not long after I was up.
And it was like 2 or 3 hours at most,
Yeah.
it felt like.
Yeah, I didn't know. Well, I'm not early anyway. I didn't know this too much. So
Talking about sleep, although this isn't festival related, everyone in the car falling asleep in the car on the way home on the drive.
I didn't fall asleep.
Everyone? Or you were quiet and moody, so I wasn't talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have talked to me if you wanted. It's just.
I did a couple of times. You were one word answering me. That's not exactly conductive.
Yeah, sorry, I was tired, man.
Yeah.
On
And
the-
I knew that when I got to yours, I would have to go more home. I wasn't home yet.
in a cab.
On the travel journey back, again, not like anyone's fault, but the bloody one lane on the Dartford crossing, that wasn't welcome. That caused, I was flying, bro. I was like, oh, this is making good time, and then that's it. All of a sudden, I wasn't. No.
Spitting feathers, 4 lanes down to 1, and the work is on the other side of the road, the bridge where they closed it off. And it's like, really, you couldn't have done the lanes when we come off the bridge. 4 lanes to 1. Yeah, we weren't happy.
My last ugly, then, I suppose, just to finish off my one, because it just caused stress and anxiety, was the tent dramas. So like our tent, basically the poles started giving up the ghost halfway through Friday. I think it was quite early on anyway, wasn't it? It was like, yeah, this is leading a bit more than it normally does, and then it looked like it was going to go. I was quite proud that I'd come up with some sort of engineering solution with the things that actually worked really well and kept it up stable for the rest of the time. But the anxiety and the stress of watching that bend and all that, and wondering like, oh shit, what are we gonna do? And starting to plan, like, because he leads into the signal. Like, I was trying to like load the Argos app up on my phone. I was like, I'll just go somewhere and grab like a quick 2-man tent from somewhere. And it's like, I gotta get any fucking signal. I'm gonna have to drive off into the world and then hope I can get like the Argos app open or something like that. But yeah, that was a stress, man.
Yeah, you did Jimmy that really nicely, and it held up to the very end. So great fucking job on that. Dan, have you got any uglies?
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
A pool of water on the front of your tent.
Yeah,
that happens every fucking year, man. Like I get really used to it. I'm like, my socks are wet. Yeah.
this is not in your actual tent. That's the thing.
just don't leave your shoes.
Yeah, I mean, my airbed pissed me off. Kept deflating.
Frozen again.
The sleeping bag woolly, so it was just slightly uncomfortable, you know.
Okay.
Like, it's like me being a little fucking baby about it, really.
That's why it's the ugly and not the bad, isn't it? It's silly.
Yeah.
Personal stuff to us as well, isn't it?
What about you? You got any?
No, I didn't. I put the VIP food stall as ugly.
Yeah.
It was just £3 for a slice of melon. I thought that's a little bit much.
£3
I know
plus
it's
a melon.
stupid. I know we've already mentioned so much about food, but it's just, again, which is quite a good sign of Bloodstock that that's such a little.
Of course. The fact that these are we're nitpicking.
Yeah.
And talking of nitpicking, listen, clashes happen. They are what they are. You're at a festival. You are going to have to sometimes choose. And really doesn't bother me. But this year there was one clash that I thought was the most horrendous on a personal level. And it was the fact that Ern clashed partially with Tortured Demon. That couldn't have been any worse for me, personally. And Brendan mentioned the chairs. I put an ugly, and not the chairs in general, because I understand all the things you've brought. And I'm not going to repeat what you said, but it's the great chair debate that rears its head every year. And it feels like Bloodstock are burying their head in the sand at the moment about it. The debate has rose very quickly again. It's probably going to have to be looked at in the future in some way if it continues this way. And although this is not for this video, it's for another one, I just want to mention, and thankfully it's currently died down, but the big argument about architects headlining in 2024. But we will talk about more about that in a specific video, I think. Any more?
I've got to fuck the chair people because specifically not because they're there, but when you try, if you're trying to get to the new blood, they're there and they seem pissed off that you're going to walk in front of them. And I'm like, I'm not the dickhead sat in a chair. Like, I feel rude for walking in front of you, but like, you're in the way.
I think they don't make it easy for people, man, because like not all, and this isn't all, because there are plenty of people who sit in the chairs like just in front of, say, the big sound and light stage, and they're out of the way, and actually you don't even really notice them at all. This is more for the people that like come and spread out, right? They create huge rows of them, like campsites of them. Sometimes just finding a way to walk through. You know, you'll often get like the fight back argument on Facebook and whatnot saying like, oh yeah, but you know, if you want to see better, then go closer to the front. It's like, yeah, I will if I can find the fucking way through, man.
And then the people who, the odd person or people you would see who were camped up really fucking close to the front of the stage as well, you know? When we remember with Zealanado, we stood in front of 2 or 3 people out in chairs. They didn't get up because it got so busy in there, but he had it at his back. And I was thinking about he's going to hit you in the face sometimes with it, you know? But by the way, let's not get too much into that. Okay, I think we'll wrap this one up there with simply this. For all of those silly little ugly complaints, the things we said were bad, I think the overall, as we said at the start, the overall experience has been incredible. I just want to go back because I forgot something. And I think it's something we might all praise. Good. The new app. The new app and its Clash Finder was a godsend. That you could load it up without internet. You could see what clear bands were playing next, what ones you had highlighted. Absolutely phenomenal piece of work. Bloodstock.
Yeah, it's a huge improvement on the original app. Like, then it's like night and day.
Yeah,
I just like that you could scroll through as well. You could, if you had to refresh it, and you could see what was playing at specific times. Like,
did the app show changes?
I couldn't tell you because I didn't know any of the changes.
Yeah, I think some people said that did, but they either couldn't load it up or whatever. But I don't know this one for sure. So maybe it did or didn't. But you know,
that would need internet reception, whereas the rest of it's just
that's the thing. That's what I'm praising is the fact I didn't need reception to look at that Clash Finder that I'd set up.
Your schedule was quite.
And there you go. It was fantastic experience. We are going to do another video, so make sure you check out what we're talking about the band specifically, because ultimately that is what we are there for, to see and listen to music. But of course, for now, we'll see you in 2024. We'll be back. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?